For February 12th, um, this is my son's birthday. He passed away in July of 2020. And since he passed away, he was and has been a very interactive spirit. A lot of the things he did when he's very interactive was during my period of deep depression. And he was trying to help pull me out of it. And if I ever had thought, how much, or questioned how much help we could get from someone on the other side after what my son did to try and help me, I never will doubt it again. So I thought, I would come on and share some of these with you. He was a ham when he was here, a jokester, great with the bear hugs, loved to laugh. So those traits carried over into his next incarnation, so to speak, or rebirth back into his self. But in any case, the first story I want to share actually happened the night he passed away. Now, as you can imagine, that day he passed away early in the afternoon. That whole time it was just a big shit show, and I was a hot mess, deservedly so. And around midnight I went to go to bed, just not to get sleep, because I didn't know what to do. I was in that phase of shock, and I didn't even know what to do with myself. So I go up into my room and I lay down on my bed, and I'm just bawling my eyes out, figuring that's what I'm going to do all night, when I see something moving, something coming into my room, and I stop instantly crying. And what I see is this orb, and it's like this big. It's like 2 inches minimum in the diameter of it. And the orb color, it was this beautiful blue, which is my son's favorite color. And the rim of it was gold. And the rim of it was moving, like it was breathing, contracting, expanding, contracting, expanding. And I watch it as it just moves very slowly, very deliberately. It's just flying, floating right across my room like this. And it goes over to my nightstand, which is right next to where I'm lying. And it goes over to this heartstone that I have on the nightstand, this beautiful heartstone. And it hovers right on top of this heartstone for a good 30 seconds. And I'm staring at it like bated breath. And then it goes right into the middle of the heart. And I knew that that was my son saying, "Mom, I'm always going to be in your heart." Now, since that night, for a little while after that, I tried repeatedly to get him to come back in the blue orb. And it was a one-time deal, but that's okay. Now, the next thing he did, any other day in any other time would have absolutely blown my mind. But it was my first Christmas without him. I had lost it earlier that day. It was just not a good time for me. And I go to bed that night, and the moment I lay down, the moment I close my eyes, it's like these fireworks go off. I just see these lights, these white lights just shooting up everywhere. And then the word love. And it was like this big, the word love in lowercase cursive, red and green, would just flash love, 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 love. And it was so bright, I opened my eyes, and my entire room was full. My entire room had these lights shooting out with the word love, love, love. And I remember thinking, if only I could take a picture of this. There's only some way to record this. It's like watching it on a movie screen. And I told my son, I said, "I don't feel anything, buddy, but I really appreciate what you're doing here for me." Um, so now also to try and help me, my son didn't just always come in and give little poignant, beautiful things like that. Sometimes he would play mad jokes on me, and he loved to hide things. I mean, there's a 6 month period. I've never looked for stuff more in my life just to have it be exactly where I thought it was the first time, and turned around and it was gone. So he used to do that because he wanted me to play. And even though we go into this grief, we're not actually meant to grieve, because they're not gone. They've just transitioned, and it's their choice. Like, their choice is to leave when they leave. And we'll see them, they're with us, we can talk to them. But our humanness doesn't quite process loss that way yet. So my son wanted me to play. And in all of the playing, playing can help you relieve, if you can just get out of the mindset of grief for a moment and you can just laugh, then you can kind of shake a little bit of the grief out. And that's what he was trying to do for me. He was trying to get me to play, trying to get me to laugh, to just shake a little bit of the grief out so I could start to move upwards. So, but sometimes he wanted to be hands-on in it. So for my first birthday, which was also in December, some of my friends and I went to the mountains. And while we were in the mountains, I just wanted to hike and be in nature. While we were in the mountains, one of my friends had brought this game to play. And mind you, I had not really laughed and meant it or felt it since the moment I found my son. We start playing this game, and I will tell you, I was pushing the boundaries of the rules of the game to their borders and maybe a little bit past it. But it was so funny that we were all laughing and rolling and just having a great time. So a couple hours pass. We're doing this. We're laughing hysterically. I go upstairs. Finally, we're done. Go to bed. And I have a bathroom in my room. I go in past the door in my bathroom. I'm still laughing. And all of a sudden, my hip starts to move. And I'm like, what? And I look down, and my hip is going like, in ways that I could never move my hip. Now, when it was my hip stopped moving, my belt loop was tied around the lever of the door, the bathroom door, and it wasn't budging. So let me just preface this by saying I was a good 2 inches shorter, my hip, my belt loop, than where the lever of this door was. Number one. Number two, so even if I had somehow managed to just raise my hip up and get it stuck and along to get my belt loop on it, I don't know how I would have had my belt loop tied around this lever. And it was tied around it so tight that it didn't budge. You couldn't slide it. You couldn't get it down and get it off. So now I've got one foot, I'm on my tiptoes because it's 2 inches taller, and I cannot get this off, and I'm stuck in my pants. So I'm stuck on this door. And I look and I'm thinking, what the heck? And then I realize that my son had done this to me. And now I start laughing all over again. And I'm hollering laughing. And I'm stuck, and I'm like, I could die here. I can't get myself off, but I'm laughing hysterically. So much so that one of my friends comes in. And when she comes, what is going on? She comes in, she looks over and sees I'm stuck on this door. And she goes, how did you do this? and she tries to pull me with her two hands. She cannot get this belt loop off the lever of this door. And I'm just rolling. And I was like, Brandon did it. We ended up having to be very strategic at taking my pants off so that I could free myself, because it took me taking my pants off, which was not an easy thing to do considering I was half hanging there, and in order to untie them so that we could pull my pants off of that door. Now that is like my son coming in at his best. And I'll also say that where we were at in the mountains, there was one little town in there, and they had one billboard. And it was supposed to rain that whole weekend of this trip. And I had asked Brandon to take care of the rain so we could hike each day. Only rained at night. It did not rain during the day. And so we did our hikes. And then on the last day, we go in through this town, and there's this one billboard. And it said, "Need help? Call Brandon." And it's like, yeah, that's my buddy. So the other thing that he did, that I do want to share, which I always, this one gets to me every time. He, gave such amazing bear hugs. And one of the things, even though I know and I can talk to him, and he'll come into my meditation, sometimes he tickles me, but that hug, man, there was just something about it. And so I got myself stuck at one point on I wanted a hug from him. I was like, buddy, I really want a hug. I don't know how you're going to do it, but I want a hug. And this went on for months. I kept telling him, Brandon, I really want a hug. So one night I go to bed and I go to sleep. And then I realize, like, I'm lucid dreaming. And I'm looking at this big house that I don't know whose house it is, but I go inside and my entire family is there that's alive. Like, I've got both my sisters, their husbands, all their kids, my brother, his wife, all their kids, my daughter, my two granddaughters, all of her husband, all of this. My dad is sitting like the head of the table, and they're all eating. And it's like a huge U-shaped table, and everybody's in there eating. And I come in and I'm looking at everybody there eating. Nobody says anything to me, and I'm just like thinking, what's happening? And then I see my son come in through the door. And the moment he comes in, we lock eyes. I go running up to him and I said, Brandon, I said, you're here. And he goes, yes. Said, but you're dead. And he goes, yes. And then I put my hand up and he put his hand up like this. And I just took my hand and I went closer and closer, knowing I was going to go right through his hand. It was never going to touch it. But the minute I got near his hand, I touched it. It was physical. And the minute I knew I could touch him, I grabbed him into the biggest hug I could give him. And he, of course, gave me that big bear hug. And when I woke up, that was all I remembered of the night. I woke up feeling like he had just given me that hug. I could still feel the imprints on my arms or his hands. I could still feel the feeling of his arms around me. So there are amazing things, in this multi-dimensional life that we live, in the way we're learning and the way we're growing and expanding, that we can still have some really beautiful interactions with our passed on loved ones that help us heal, help us to keep moving forward, but also just help us in our life and what our own life plan is. And my son is now, as he loves to tell me, I'm your teacher now, Mama. I'm one of your spirit guides. And he does. He comes in and he helps me a lot. And I love this kid so much for it. Anyway, I just thought you guys might enjoy this. And I know my buddy watching, wherever he's at, I'm sure he's enjoying it too. Oh, he just said, I'm right here, Mom. He just gave me a kiss. Oh, he's such a good kid. Anyway, thank you for watching this, and I will be back next time with a new video.